people are talking about, aren't they? People talk about what are the practical implications of all of this. Well, it is actually very easily done. You could drag them up there. You could beam it into their cells. You could put them into a soundproof booth. You could put that booth with mirrored glass so that they can't then impact on the court proceedings. You could threaten to take away whatever privileges they may well have whilst in prison. So for Lucy Letby, for example, she will at some point want to have contact with the outside world. She will at some point want to have a phone call, etc. You can actually take all that away from her if she doesn't attend. So it's gbnews.com/justice. But can I just also outline some of the utter wrong'uns who haven't turned up at court for the final days of their sentencing? We've got Lucy Letby, murdered 7 babies. He's now going to spend the rest of her life in a cushy pink-coloured prison, never having heard the victim impact statements. Thomas Cashman shot and killed 9-year-old Olivia Pratt-Corbell in her own home. He is a gangland professional. Prison will be like a holiday camp for that nutter. Kochi Salamaji killed schoolteacher Sabina Nessa in cold blood in a park as she walked home. Levi Belfield, he wants to get married in prison now, and indeed he's going to have photographs of his wedding taken. He's writing books. Prison does not bother these people. The only thing that would bother them is facing up to the consequences of what they've done, the human impact statements of what they've done. And I defer to the relatives of Zara Alina and Ellie Edwards, who I spoke to in the last couple of days, who both said to me, reading their victim impact statements to the killers would have been the absolute bit of justice that they could have got left. And so we are trying to force that through. gbnews.com/justice.
So for you, Patrick, is it about the victims and about giving the victims some more closure, or is it about wanting to inflict more punishment, if you like, on the criminal?
So it's both, really. Now, primarily, it is about the victim and the victim impact statements. And therefore, I think anyone would say it's reasonable that in some cases, the relatives of the victim may well not want to see that individual in court. Therefore, I think it should be entirely up to them. That's a very reasonable way of doing it. In that case, you could obviously beam those statements down into their cells, as has already been discussed. But the other thing for me is, as you've said, about having more of an impact on the perpetrator. There's 2 reasons for me why an individual would not want to attend court. One is cowardice, so they don't want to hear the impact of their crimes and their sentence read down to them. The other one is it's the last little bit of power that they have in this situation. It's the last little bit of control that they have in that situation. And I want to remove that power and control from those people. And I don't want them. They were not cowards. They were not scared, were they? When they were going around murdering babies, they were not scared when they were going around attacking lone women, vulnerable women in a park, ruining people's lives. They weren't so scared then. So they should be made to front up to this.
Patrick, I completely agree. Why should these vile, evil killers, rapists have any right to dictate anything that goes on in the sentencing hearing? They have no rights whatsoever.
100%. I mean, there is a school of thought, though it's not necessarily the most popular school of thought, but there is a school of thought that says that, if you go around murdering 7 babies and attempting to murder 6 others, and by the way, this story could end up getting worse, the police are still looking into other things here, then you maybe lose your human rights to an extent. And if that human right is about you being dragged to court kicking and screaming, I think that is something that people would favour. Just another option on this, by the way, quickly, is at the moment, the judges do have power and the prison governors do have the power to do it. But the fear comes, which I completely understand, the fear comes from prison officers who don't want to end up on the wrong side of the law themselves by overstepping that grey area of reasonable force. I would also just like to politely remind ourselves about why we possibly ended up here with Lucy Letby. Doctors were reporting her and saying we think she's killing babies. And a fear of HR culture, a fear of people themselves trying to do the right thing and ending up on the wrong side of the law is arguably one reason why she was allowed to keep killing babies for a long period of time. When it comes to the prison officers, we need to remove the fear that prison officers would have about overstepping that reasonable force line and protect them and let them get people to court.
Patrick, good luck with the campaign. That's our GB News presenter, Patrick Christys. Just remind us, Patrick, how do they find the petition?
Good stuff. So it's gbnews.com/justice. So far, nearly 20,000 people have done it. I'll keep you updated on my show 3 till 6 p.m. about what the next steps in this petition are going to be. Do not trust the politicians to just do this. Make your voices heard. Let's force it through.